This will not be an easy game on Sunday, that is for sure. Let's talk about it on a Friday, Locked On Lions.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what's going on, everybody? Matt Derry with you. It's a Friday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On a Friday, September the 22nd, and a Saturday, September 23rd, 2 days away from the invasion of the Dirty Birds. That's right, the Atlanta Falcons coming to town. Every single time these two teams have played the last 3 times, it's been a wild game. I want to explain that coming up momentarily on the program. You'll have to excuse the voice. I'm battling right now a cold and cough. Yeah, that time of year. Plus, took that COVID test today. Oh, that was fun. Negative, thanks goodness. But thanks for being with us, making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Shout out to our everydayers who watch us or listen to us each and every day. And that includes my very good friends, my best friends, Dawn and Jake Von Erich. They're the best in the biz. Checking us out on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Coming up on the show today, got to get you the injury news, the players that are out. Guys that are doubtful, who likely could be deemed out tomorrow. We'll get to that momentarily. And will Jeff Okudah play for the Falcons? We'll tell you coming up momentarily. Again, the wild history between these two teams, some keys to victory. And also, I have a thought about last night's Thursday night football game, which was an absolute atrocity. It was absolutely horrible. Locked On Lions today brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Follow us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, the Matt Derry Facebook fan page, on Threads at The Real Matt Derry. And I just have a feeling we're all going to be on Threads soon, all of us, with this news of maybe having to pay for Twitter or X. Not happening. And also, again, our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. All right, so let's start with this. We knew this coming into this week, that the Lions were banged up. Not only did they lose Sunday against the Seahawks, but they lost a lot of guys. It was just like a mash unit. Everybody was dropping like flies on Sunday in the loss to the Seahawks. Today, Dan Campbell did tell us that Isaiah Buggs is in, and he's going to play for being a healthy scratch the first 2 weeks and kind of losing his starting job. And with some issues off the field with Buggs, but he and Dan Campbell are cool. And now Isaiah Buggs is going to play this week, of course, with some other injuries along the defensive line. Taylor Decker remains out, so he's going to have to miss his second straight game. So you have to figure they'll go with Penei Sewell on the left side at left tackle and Matt Nelson on the right side as the right tackle opposite of Penei, and they'll do that on Sunday. Also, Kerby Joseph is out. This one concerns me. Now you're going into a game against a very explosive running back, against some pretty good weapons in Drake London, and yes, fantasy owners hate him, but Kyle Pitts can play. They just don't know how to use him right. But not having Kerby Joseph, it's one thing to lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and then insert Tracy Walker. Not that big of a step down. Tracy's a good football player. To lose Kerby Joseph and hand the reins over at strong safety to Ife Melifonwu, yikes. We're going to find out if he can play coming up on Sunday. Also, Emmanuel Mosley, Manny, he remains out. Will not play. Hal Vaitai, the team's starting right guard, out. So that means Graham Glasgow steps in at right guard. And quite honestly, Graham Glasgow was lousy last weekend. Didn't play well. We know he can play better. Hopefully getting the start and being out there the whole game. Knock on wood, Graham Glasgow will be in there. So you're missing Decker, Joseph, Mosley, Vaitai, David Montgomery, Monty, as he's known, running back, doubtful for this game. Hasn't practiced all week after injuring his thigh on Sunday. You have to figure maybe tomorrow the Lions deem him out, label him as out, and you know, that way it opens up a roster spot. Well, we'll see what happens for Sunday, but right now David Montgomery is listed as doubtful. Good news is that Amon-Ra St. Brown practiced today and yesterday, and they list him as questionable. Josh Reynolds has a little bit of a leg problem, but he's questionable. So those guys likely will play on Sunday. But we're talking about some major injuries there. And let's go back to the Montgomery injury for a second. This means more touches, more opportunities for Jahmyr Gibbs. That also means guys like Bam Knight coming off the practice squad and Craig Reynolds. Come on, Craig. That means Craig is going to get some chances here. So the Lions have to take advantage of that. As Aaron Freeman told us yesterday on the Locked On Falcons from the Locked On Falcons podcast on the Thursday crossover, Falcons run defense is okay. It's not great per se. But the thing that keeps the Falcons run defense numbers down is the fact that the Falcons run offense is so good and how physical that Falcons offensive line has been since Arthur Smith has been there. It's kept the Atlanta defense off the field. So that's the story right now as far as injuries go. As far as the Falcons are concerned, Cordero Patterson, who kind of does their jack of all trades, kind of Swiss Army knife on offense, plays in the backfield, plays receiver, great kick returner. He's questionable for the game. And Hefe, yes, Jeff Okudah, former Lion legend. Was he? I'm joking. It's Friday. Maybe it's the cough medicine. But Jeff Okudah is also questionable for this game on Sunday. He's told the media he can't wait to go up against his former team, and he wants to play well. And future head coach Aaron Glenn made a comment this week. He still thinks Okudah could be a dominant corner in this league, but his time in Detroit obviously just wasn't the right fit. Never lived up to the top 5 billing, top 3 billing. Thanks, Bob Quinn. And so now he's off to Atlanta, playing on a 1-year deal, basically. And he could make his NFL or his Falcons debut this coming Sunday at Ford Field, his old stomping grounds, after he's missed the first couple of weeks with a knee injury. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I'm concerned about all these guys being out, of course. You know, we talked about it the other day. When you don't have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson out there, and you know he'll be on the sidelines and everything else, but like just the leadership he brought, the swagger, you know, I felt so good about the DBs with Branch and with CJ and with Kerby Joseph in year 2 and yet depth with Tracy Walker. Now that depth is going to be tested coming up on Sunday against the Falcons. Look, this is not Patrick Mahomes. This is not even Geno Smith. This is a quarterback in Desmond Ridder, who's only in his second year, didn't play a ton last year, some, but not a ton. And now this year, he's been really lousy the first 3 quarters of both games, both wins for the Falcons against Carolina and Green Bay, but he's turned it on in the 4th quarter. I was watching Arthur Smith today, the Falcons head coach. He's got a little mustache going right now. And he was talking with Pat McAfee on his show today. Happened to see it on at the gym. Isn't it great when you go to the gym to go to the sauna and they have a TV in there? Now, it's obviously not inside the sauna, but it was like in another room and a window. And I was watching the McAfee show. Anyway, hopefully sweating out this cold. And McAfee was talking to Arthur Smith, and Smith said, they asked him what he liked about Desmond Ridder, and he said, 4th quarter, he's a winner, and he's tough. So 2 straight games, he's outplayed Bryce Young and Jordan Love in the 4th quarter and put his team in positions to win. So we'll see if that takes place this week. Again, this is the Falcons' first road game. They're at Ford Field. You guys that are going to this game are going to be loud. It'll be raucous and all those things. So hopefully that helps the Lions' cause. They're going to need it with all of these injuries. All right, coming up next, there's a crazy history between these 2 teams over the last few years. It's been wild, and we want to get to that coming up next. But first, as you see on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, we got to tell you about our friends at PrizePicks. So much fun. And all you got to do, you pick 2 to 6 players, and you pick more than or less than their stat projections, and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks is the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money. This football season, you throw down $10, you could make that into $250 in no time. Some examples this weekend. Well, last night, all right, if you had Matt Breida less than 50 yards, you were in good shape. The Giants couldn't run the football at all. I think Shane McMahon could have had as many yards as Matt Breida last night. Aaron Rodgers, of course, done for the year. So now it's Zach Wilson with the Jets. Will he throw more or less than 2 touchdowns this week? You can bet on that and on so much more at PrizePicks. It's easy and fun to play, and you're going up against the projections. You're not going up against anybody else or any of your friends. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Go there now. Use the code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Use the code LockedOnNFL. Get that first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports, made easy. All right, so if you recall, the last 3 times the Lions have played the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons, these games have been effing crazy. They've been nuts. All right. Yeah, and I didn't swear there, and I apologize for the other day. Don't worry about it. I'm a bad guy, and can't do that. Can't do that. Got to watch my language. We're on Tegna. We're on TV some places. I gotta be better than that. YouTube. So I apologize. But anyway, you got to go back. The last 3 times these two teams have played have been wild, and I expect it to be like this again tomorrow or Sunday. Think about this: September 2017, Lions Falcons down at Ford Field, the corner of Brush and Adams. All right, Falcons win 30-26. Remember what happened? Lions won the game. Golden Tate catches the ball, 1 second left. He's in. Touchdown Lions, 32-30 walk-off. They were going to win the game. Everybody was going nuts. All of a sudden, whistles start blowing. They review it upstairs. Actually, it was what? 8. It was 8 seconds left. It wasn't a walk-off. 8 seconds left. They would have kicked the extra point. They would have won the game 33-30. Booth review. It was determined on the field. It was called a touchdown. Booth review says Golden Tate's knee was down at the 1-yard line. 8 seconds left. Remember what happened? The infamous 10-second runoff. Game's over. The fans were furious. We were all like, what? 10-second runoff rule, because by rule, the clock would have kept going and they have to run 10 seconds off, and there were 8 seconds on the clock. Falcons win the game and escape. It was total BS. That was a wild finish in 2017, last time these two teams played here in Detroit. October 2020, Lions go down to Atlanta and win 23-22 on a Stafford walk-off pass, touchdown pass to TJ Hawkinson with no time left. Walked it off. That was the game where just a minute earlier in 2 seconds, Todd Gurley is running towards the end zone and the Lions are letting him score to take the lead so they get the ball back. The only player, do you remember this? The only player that was stupid enough to not let him score was Will Harris, yet Gurley kind of tried to get down. Will helped carry him into the end zone, not knowing. Turned out they got the 2-point conversion. They went up, 22-20? No, 22-16. And, or 22-21, they went up. And, 22-17, they went up. And the Lions ended up winning the game. Stafford on a walk-off to TJ Hawkinson. They let him score, well, everybody except Will Harris, but they still got the ball back, and they won a wild game in 2020 on the last play of the game. And then the last time these two teams played, December 2021, end of the season, Jared Goff's got COVID. Mr. August himself, Timothy Boyle, is quarterbacking your Honolulu Blue and Silver under Dan Campbell in year 1, when the Lions went into that game at 2-11-1. Lions should have won the game. They lost 20-16. Boyle was intercepted at the goal line at the end to lose it. After Russell Gage had fumbled to give the Lions the ball back after Riley Patterson, yes, current Lions kicker Riley Patterson, kicked a field goal. Lions needed a turnover. They got it. JRM, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, recovers. Lions in business, like 40 seconds to go. They get down close, like the 20. Boyle thinks it's zone. It's man. And he throws an interception at the goal line. And the Lions lose 20-16. I remember Dan Campbell after the game say, we were right there. We should have won. So the last 3 times they've played, 4-point Atlanta win, 1-point Detroit win, 4-point Atlanta win. It's been wild. Those were 3 crazy games. And I got to be honest with you. I'm expecting the same on Sunday. Falcons are playing good football. They run the dickens out of it. They're physical on both sides. Don't have a great secondary opposite of Terrell. We heard Aaron Freeman tell us that yesterday. Lions should be able to throw the football. But Falcons play smart. They've won in the fourth quarter the last 2 weeks. And They're well coached. Arthur Smith has done a really good job so far this year. And I think they think Ritter's the guy now. After last year, when he, of course, wasn't ready, Mariota played, etc. Ritter, the quarterback out of Cincinnati from 2 years ago, you see, they think that he's going to be really good. Hasn't put up big numbers yet, but the guy he's handing the football off to has put up big numbers. We're going to talk about that coming up next, because the Bijan Robinson factor is immense in this game. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at Gametime. Look, you want to get the tickets? I was just talking to my daughter today. She wants to go to an event downtown, and I looked on the Gametime app. I have it on my phone, and you can see everything that is there. The pricing, the seating chart, which I love, the images of the seat view, so you know exactly where you're sitting. I love the Gametime app. They got flash deals and last minute tickets. They got easy to find and buying tickets for every event that you want in your area. So that's concerts, wrestling, whatever it is you want to go see. Images of seat views, lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection as well. Let's say you bought a bunch of tickets for events or concerts or games down the road. And right now, with everything that's happening in the world and, fourth quarter and fiscal year, October 1st, you lose your job. Maybe you want to send those tickets back and save yourself some money. You can do that with the Gametime app. It's a place for last minute ticket deals. Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price if you find tickets in the same section and for less, and row for less. Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. If I could talk, that would be great. Download the Gametime app, create the account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, redeem your code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And hey, Matt Derry here to tell you about a new subscriber to the podcast. That would be our friends at DoorDash. All right, missing the syrup for your pancakes or just ran out of your favorite coffee creamer? Well, with DoorDash grocery delivery, yes, you heard me right. Grocery delivery. You can get what you want right when you need it, delivered right to your door. Need fresh groceries for the week, but don't have time to get to the store? Try grocery delivery from DoorDash. You trusted them to deliver your restaurant favorites for years now, and you can get grocery delivery that actually delivers too. You'll get exactly what you ordered, or they'll make it right. So sit back and enjoy quality groceries just like you picked them up yourself. With easy substitutions right in the app and a best-in-class customer support, DoorDash delivers groceries exactly how you want it. Get 50% off. That's 50% off your first DoorDash order, up to a $20 value when you use code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout. Limited time offer. Terms apply. That's 50% off, up to $20 no minimum subtotal, and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code LOCKEDONNFL. Don't forget, that's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 off your first order with DoorDash. All right, so keys to this game coming up on Sunday and how the Lions can knock off the Atlanta Falcons. Well, first and foremost, I mentioned Isaiah Buggs before. It is time for the Lions' interior defensive line, and really the entire defensive line, start getting disruptive. All right, if you can take away Algier and Bijan, and if Cordero Patterson plays, they've got this three-headed monster at running back they can throw at you. But if you take the run away, then get pressure on a young quarterback, all right, that is going on the road to start in a hostile environment, you got a chance. All right, last week was too easy for Geno Smith. That was a joke, what was going on down at Brush and Adams. It was awful. Did I say last week that the Barry Sanders statue looks so cool, but why is it buried in the back of Ford Field when it should be at the front gate? I'm sorry, I had to say that again. I think I did. Anyway, pressure. I want to see Buggs back in the backfield. I want to see something from Aleem McNeil, Onwuzurike, all these guys up front, Aiden Hutchinson. Let's go. Let's bother Desmond Ridder. That's a huge key to getting stops, getting your offense back on the field, and getting the crowd into it. Geno Smith and the Seahawks on that first drive the other day went right down the field. He had all day to throw, and that can't happen again. Second key to this game is Bijan Robinson. This guy has been, as advertised, as a number 8 overall pick by the Falcons. He has been fantastic. And I don't think I'm overdoing it when I talk about him. So far this season, in 2 games, all right, he's rushed for 180 yards. He's caught 11 passes for 75 yards. All right. He had a 124-yard rushing day last weekend against the Packers. Still has yet to score a rushing touchdown. He has a receiving touchdown. This guy is a force. And if you watch Bijan Robinson, the rookie, the thing that really excites you about this kid from Texas is, and I hate to use the term, like the comparison, but I just brought him up. He looks like Barry Sanders out there. He stops on a dime. You think you've got him, and he just cuts back like Barry used to do. Barry used to run right and then just like cut back left. He had that stutter step. Bijan puts that right foot down, cuts and goes. And he's tough to bring down. He's fast. He's big. He's everything. And so if Bijan Robinson is getting 8, 9, 10 yards a pop early, and the Falcons are able to establish the run, it's going to be a long day for the Lions. They've got to be able to come up and tackle him. And that's why I'm concerned when you got Gardner Johnson and Kerby Joseph out, 2 very good and sure tacklers from the secondary. This is putting more pressure on the linebackers. And look, Anzalone, Barnes, Campbell, even Rodrigo. It's the best linebacking core the Lions have had in a long time. All right. But they've got to wrap up Bijan Robinson. This guy is explosive. And he just wore the Packers down last week. Wore them down. Falcons have the most 10-yard or longer gains on the ground of any team thus far this season through 2 weeks. So their run game is there. And that's what Arthur Smith wants to do. Remember, Arthur Smith was the offensive coordinator in Tennessee when they had Derrick Henry and they were running the rock on everybody. All right. Same thing goes now for the Falcons. And their defense has been pretty good. Only give up 10 points to Carolina and only 24 points to the Packers last week. So that's going to be a key as well. And the third key, and I've been talking about it all week, Dan Campbell's decision-making. All right. If the field goal's there early and it's 4th and 6, take the points. All right. If there's opportunities there to punt, to back up the Falcons and get your crowd into it, do it. I'm not saying no more 4th down, go for it anymore. Dan Campbell is going to gamble. He's going to go for it on 4th and 2 at the Falcons 30. All right. But situationally, if an Amon-Ra St. Brown is hurt or Jahmyr Gibbs has to come out of the game, you read the situation and make the right call. All right. I don't want to be on the pod on Monday or even on our Sunday post-game pod, if I could talking about coaching decisions anymore. I want to feel good about the decisions that have been made. And that's going to be a key this week. This is not going to be an easy game. All right. Everybody had this down as a W at the start of the year when people were going through their schedules and everything else. Falcons are playing well and feeling good. And the Lions are a little bit banged up. And don't forget, short week after this, Lions have to go to Green Bay next Thursday. Now, I've heard some people say, well, the Lions could end up being 1-3. Season's over. They have to win Sunday. No, they don't. This is not a must win. It's important that they do win. You don't want to go into Green Bay at 1-2, but I got news for you. This division blows. All right. The Lions could be 1-3 and still win the division. It's not the end of the world. But with the short week with Green Bay, we watched Thursday Night Football last night, and I said that Thursday Night Football is really bad. It's bad. Look, I'm not going to complain because I watch, but these games are terrible. Lions Chiefs was not really a Thursday night game because neither team had played the week before. They were ready and willing to go and healthy to go. But these last few weeks, Thursday Night Football has just been abominable. Last night, the Giants, they couldn't recover from their loss or their win in Arizona the last Sunday. They stayed out west, but half their guys were out. Saquon was out. And Andrew Thomas was out. They couldn't even field a team last night. It was unwatchable. And with how physical the sport is now and how careful we are with concussions and head injuries, these Thursday night games, there's a reason Al Michael sounds miserable on these broadcasts, because these games are unwatchable. These teams don't want to play these Thursday games. And the Lions have to play 2 of them, both against the Packers. So short week after this. All right, that'll do it for this week on Locked On Lions. We will get you a Sunday post-game pod. Thanks for making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe to our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. I'd like to get over 8,000 subscribers. That would be great. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you again Sunday, hopefully, after a Lions victory. Go Lions.